I'm Drew,
And I'm Tony.
and this is Back for Our Future, the show that goes back to look at movies and music from a certain period of time. And maybe it will inform us about our own future and maybe your future too. Tony, we're back again. We've made it. And we're here to talk about stuff, talk about movies and music, as we always do. So what do you got on deck for us, buddy?
Well, first of all, it's episode number 50.
Congratulations, sir.
Yeah, congratulations to both of us, man. I'm actually pretty excited and a little bit surprised, to be honest with you. I mean, 50 episodes, considering we do the show bi-weekly, is pretty good. That's a couple of years, So
It's hard to believe it's been a couple of years, you know.
I know because I remember when we were just first putting it together, and trying to get the first episode out. And now here we are, 50 episodes later. That's quite a few. That's quite a few episodes to listen to. So if you haven't caught any of the back episodes, there's plenty of them to listen to. Check them out.
There's a big catalog.
Go ahead.
No, please go. You said you had people.
No, I said there's plenty of people who are catching up every day. So it's kind of cool.
That's great. It's amazing that we've been there's a lot of zany events over the course of it. You can hear how the show has grown over time to include music more often, and we listen to who's listening and we get feedback on stuff, and so it's a lot of fun. Do you have a favorite episode so far? Do you have a favorite episode if you think back over the time?
I don't know, man. I kind of liked doing our dual So I Married an Axe Murderer episodes because of the movie, but it was kind of fun to rehash that whole time frame.
Absolutely.
And I think when we got kind of out of that year, I was kind of a little bit sad even. So it was kind of cool. I think I found that to be what's happened with this show is like we'll go back, we'll start talking about past episodes and past things in our lives, and as we're reliving them again, I get sad about the fact that they're maybe not there. So maybe that's the nostalgia part of me, I guess, but still, it's kind of cool to relive all of it, and then maybe be like, man, I wish we could do another episode about that right now.
Yeah. I love So I Married episode. That one is obviously very near and dear, and I absolutely adore it. I also shout out to my now nemesis because he's a live supporter, but shout out to when we had Richard on, our first ever guest. Yeah. I haven't laughed that hard in so long. There's been a few. I wish I could get AI just to make a compilation of the times that either you have sent me into a spiral of laughter where my face turns bright red, because it happens a lot, and you're very good at it. And then Richard at the same time. Like, I've probably laughed. We record these guys a lot of times on Fridays, and it's the perfect end for a Friday for me because I'm laughing so hard. It makes my weekend perfect. So kudos, congratulations, 50 episodes. And we're jumping right in here, and I'm just going to take us right to it because we're going into it. It's February 3rd, and 1995. That would make me a junior in high school. You would be a senior. Is that correct?
This is my senior year. Yeah, this is my senior year. I will graduate in 1985. It'll be fun and interesting all at the same time. And we got a lot of stuff going on in 1985.
Yeah. There's a lot happening. There's a lot. Now the first movie that we're going to talk about is not a movie I've ever enjoyed. I'm just going to be honest.
It is what it is. I mean, I saw this movie on a date, so.
Oh no! Here we right out of the gate.
I mean, look,
right out of the gate.
Yeah. So the movie's Boys on the Side, which was a pretty decent sized movie that did pretty well. I think it did like $47 million on like a $20 million budget, but it's got Whoopi Goldberg, Mary Louise Parker, Drew Barrymore, and all three of them were really big and at this time frame. And so it was a movie that it's kind of a comedy drama, and I got taken there. I saw it at Carmike 10 at the time, and Yeah, got taken there on a date, and it's not a bad movie. It's kind of like a romantic comedy esque type thing in spots. So I mean, I see all the movies anyway, so it doesn't
Yeah,
really matter. Yeah, I would have watched it no matter what, but I did go on a date with a girl that shall remain nameless.
there we go. I just never really I mean I've seen the movie once a billion years ago, and I've just never revisited. Not I don't have this isn't Godfather level distaste. It's just let's just say it just didn't resonate with the audience. Much like 90s country music for me. Just didn't really settle in this time frame.
It's a very weird comparison. But yeah, yeah. I mean, it's I Whoopi Goldberg was always I always liked her back in this time frame for sure, and Drew Barrymore was great, and Mary Louise Parker's cool, and I mean, I enjoyed it. It's not. I mean, I like it's kind of like this movie about these girls going on this cross country road trip, and yeah, it was a fun movie. Had a kind of a big following at the time, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I remember all the high school friends. This is when I start to have the Fab Five start showing up in my life more often.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's not a bad film. Not my favorite of this time frame. So we're gonna get into some good ones here on this
Yeah.
episode. Out within this couple weeks in February of 1995. So not my favorite of the month, but enjoyable enough.
Well, contrast to that movie, one of the most terrifying horror movies, in my opinion, ever made. I have plenty of stories that I will not share on the air about this movie, just to not incriminate myself any further. We've done enough damage to my reputation. But there's a movie called In the Mouth of Madness,
Yes.
which is a Lovecraft film, if I'm not mistaken. So this is inspired by H.P. Lovecraft.
So it's funny. It's John Carpenter, of course,
Yep.
which makes pretty good sense when you watch it, and stars Sam Neill. And it's one of those movies because it's a big mind screw movie, right?
Yep.
And so you're watching this film, and at the time I was like, cool movie, interesting, definitely different, different than even a lot of John Carpenter's films. It's
100%.
a different feel to it. You might even go out of it not even really knowing what you saw. Kind of got that feel as I was watching it, especially at the time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's funny because it didn't do particularly great. It did okay. It was like an $8 million movie that did like 9 or 10 million at the theater, and of course secondary markets, and it was a little bit bigger um, on VHS and everything. But the thing about this movie is one of those movies that has become kind of a cult classic. I for lack of better phrasing, it's one of those types of films. I always hate using that phrase on a movie, but that's what it kind of has become because there's so many people that call it, oh, this is such a gem of a film, and I really don't know that those people even know what they've watched
Right.
to
Right.
this day. It's that kind of film. Like you can interpret it however you kind of want, which is good. So it's kind of an interpretive art film, which I enjoy. And I saw this one at Village Six, which is where you watched films like this back in those.
100%. 100%. The thing about it is, like, I remember seeing it, and it is a complete mind screw of a movie. And I remember walking out or whatever. I don't remember exactly where I first saw it, but whenever I did, and I remember it like really just messing with my head a good bit because this period of my life, and I think for a lot of people, the 90s had a lot of weird. If you go back and look, the 90s were edgy in a lot of ways. There was a lot of weird stuff that content wise that came out in the 90s, and it was even just simple advertising was different back then. Like it was edgier and different. But like in this instance, I remember walking out and it being heavy in my brain. And then I, at some point, saw this movie again, inebriated. Now, I am admitting that I was in high school and I was inebriated. It happens.
Well, it happened a lot in 1995.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That was not a good idea. This movie, sober, is disorienting, but inebriated, it actually makes sense in the worst way possible. Not a good idea. Just not a good plan.
Well, one of
And
the things about this film is, and you didn't know it. I really didn't know it then when you were watching it. There wasn't anything about it that they didn't, market this as the final installment of his Apocalypse trilogy, which is, with the Thing and Prince of Darkness. And this is supposed to be like the third installment of that. Well, I didn't watch this movie thinking that this was a third installment of anything, and so if I had known that going into it, I might have made sure I watched those two movies again because they came out in 1982 and 1987, so it's quite a few years before this one. And if I had known that, I would have probably caught up a little bit. Even though I had
yeah.
seen the films, I just, you don't think about it, and I'm not putting it together as you're watching this movie. It's something totally different than just about anything you've seen by 1995. So it's a good
Well,
film. John Carpenter is great, and he went to Western Kentucky, which is where my dad graduated from.
that's right.
He's amazing, and he's pretty celebrated in Bowling Green, Kentucky, to this day. So he's pretty awesome. But I just, this is not my favorite John Carpenter film by any stretch of the imagination, but it is an
No,
interesting.
no. Yeah, it is definitely interesting, nor is it my favorite. I'm totally with you on it. I will say, if in the as look, there's things that people should learn over the course of this show, and one of those is about counter programming. So if Boys on the Side is the bigger movie, we're going to counter program it with In the Mouth of Madness for those that understand it. But we're also going to counter program all of this with one of the look in the 90s. Look, prank calls, it was a thing. And so we get arguably these guys were massive. You get the Jerky Boys movie, and I see a note here about the soundtrack, which we gotta talk about, of course. You get the Jerky Boys movie. It's so funny because fellow listener Dale, friend of the show, I should say, unless it's football season, and then we hate him. But he and I just like maybe a week ago started talking about the Jerky Boys just out of the blue. Like, do you remember the Jerky Boys? And we were laughing at all this old stuff. And I remembered that there was a movie. I just didn't realize it came out in '95. Like, I didn't realize it was that old of a movie in terms of timeline of my brain. But what do you got on this movie, Tony? I mean, the Jerky Boys. You kidding me? They could suck the pants right off of you.
It's funny because you got the Jerky Boys, and then the other big actor that's in this is Alan Arkin. Which is great. Alan Arkin's the best. We love
Yeah.
him. I mean,
Yep.
he's primary and Axmer, man. The guy's a legend. And so yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting watching him work with these two guys that have not they're not actors, you know. But the Jerky Boys were great, and they're like you said, they're kind of a sign of the times because I mean they had a bunch of Jerky Boys albums and they were doing prank calls and stuff, and it's something that in 2026 you can't even get away with because everyone's caller ID on every phone they have, and yeah, I mean now I think it's even a misdemeanor if you prank call too much. It's like it's the whole thing, right? So it's you got all that stuff going on, but this is a funny film, and it's got a lot of great cameos in it.
Yeah.
And one of the cameos, of course, is our boy Paige Hamilton, who's great in this, and the Van Helmet is in this film, and
Yep.
uh, and so yeah, I mean, I love this movie, and I saw this. I actually saw this twice in theaters, believe it or not. And one of them was because I had to go watch this at Dolphin Street.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah,
Interesting.
I saw this at Dolphin Street, and then I saw it at the Dollar Theater. I was still
Okay.
at Arnold, so I was just right across the street. But yeah, so that's where I saw this film, man. I loved it. I loved it. It's great. It's still great. I don't know if you can even find it now, but
I was just thinking, like, I wonder if I can go dig this up, because I have like a Sunday afternoon ritual where I try and find an old movie, whether it's something we talked about on the show or something I stumble across. But on Sunday afternoons, I try and watch something. I'm literally going to put this on my list again, a list rather, to watch again, because I haven't. Now it feels like it's fate that has told me I need to go rewatch the Jerky Boys. 2 times of conversation in 2 weeks is a lot.
it's
So
fun. Got all these great cameos in it, and Ozzy's in it, and this is like it's just it's cool, man. And the soundtrack is just amazing, as well, and which came out like I think about 10 days or so before the movie, like they always used to, and so yeah, I mean it's loaded with great music, and the guys are funny. They're not the best actors you've ever seen, but they're funny. And like I said, it's one of those things. I don't know if it holds up for some people because again, like crank calls have been out for a while now, but
yep.
something that you get away with in 2026, maybe for the worse.
Wasn't there a TV show called Crank Yankers where they would call people and act it out with puppets?
Yeah, but that's old too. That's been a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that's yeah, all those things worked back in the day. They don't really work so much now.
No. No.
That now you
What about the soundtrack? The soundtrack had bits from the movie, which also sounded like bits from the Jerky Boys. So you were kind of getting a 2-for-1. You got some good music and you got some Jerky Boys material.
Yeah, so it starts off with a bit, from Johnny Brennan, and then it goes into the song that was really big off this album, which was the song "Gel" by Collective Soul,
Hmm.
kind of the big song, the big hit from this album, and there's a music video for that as well. So I
Oh
know
wow.
I know that can be found on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's great. Then you got um, 2000 Light Years Away by Green Day, Dial a Jam by Coolio, and 40 Thieves, Shallow End by Superchunk.
Ooh wow.
Yeah, yeah. Four Fly Guys by Hurricane and Beastie Boys, which is a song I really enjoyed on this. Are You Gonna Go My Way performed by Tom Jones, which
Oh,
is
the original.
which yeah plays in this movie as well,
Yeah.
and it's pretty great. Hanging on the Telephone by L7,
Wow.
Beef Jerky by House of Pain, which is pretty good song as
Yeah,
well.
that's a great track. Yeah.
Um, Symptom of the Universe by Helmet, which is awesome, and
Yeah.
is performed in the movie as well. And then Dirty Dancing, You Got Me Sick as a Dog by the Wu-Tang Clan, which is amazing. Yeah, so I mean
That's a banger.
yeah, it's a loaded soundtrack. It's really good, highly underrated because there were a lot of big soundtracks in the era, and this is one of those that kind of slips under the radar a little bit because the movie wasn't massive. It was like a $7 million budget. It did like 8 million, 9 million, somewhere in there, and has to make its money back on video. But yeah, it's a solid soundtrack for sure, and I think it's a really funny comedy as well.
Yeah, I'm really peaked. I'm sure you can probably find the soundtrack on Spotify or wherever you listen to music. I'm sure you can buy it still, but I don't know.
Soundtrack would be
What?
easier to than the movie.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, it's just everyone goes to streaming stuff now for whatever reason, and it's just harder to find these things sometimes. It might be playing somewhere though. I don't know. I'm not going to look it up right this second, but everybody else can do that. Go to IMDb. They always have a listing of all the stuff that's underneath for any movie that you want to look up, and just throw it into the search engine. And you'll see it right above the title, right under the title and the photos. You'll see a whole listing of where it's showing or where you can pick it
Oh,
up.
that's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that, but that's awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to go listen to that soundtrack when we're done here. I'll probably make that part of my weekend ritual. I'm going to see if I can find the movie. If I do find it and I feel like it, I'll try and post about it. That takes us to the next week. And I'm going to be honest with you, this week, in terms of movies, all 3 are bangers. All
Yeah.
three. This is one of the most insanely awesome weeks of film. I don't know this. If we ever do a ranking of best weeks, like we would have to pre-select them. But if we ever ended up doing a bracket on best weeks, and this one I'd argue is a pretty solid best week of film.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's like kind of you got a movie that kind of launched a massive career here, and then you
Yeah.
got movies that were kind of more under the radar, but they were really great. And
Yep.
yeah, I agree. It was definitely a good week. And I saw all these movies in very different time frames. So like I didn't go immediately to the theater and see them like all opening weekend or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, the first one is just an absolute classic, and that's Billy Madison. And look,
Yep.
this is Adam Sandler's. I mean, he's got a couple movies before this, smaller stuff. Uh, this is his first like starring movie, and like I still quote this movie with my brother to this day. Like him and I still quote this movie all the time, and
Yeah.
quite a bit. It's yeah. I was thinking about this earlier before the show. I was like, man, where would I rank this as far as like the Adam Sandler films? It's definitely in the top five of his
Yeah.
films. It may be on depending on how I feel that day. It might be number one, but it's up there with like
Right.
like that and like maybe like Waterboy and The Wedding Singer and Mr. Deeds Big Daddy. Like all those are kind of in the mix. Grown Ups. I like his theatrical stuff. Now, of course, he doesn't make movies anymore. He makes streaming garbage. But yeah, I mean, he's he used to be great. Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore. I mean, I loved Happy Gilmore, the first one.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I get it. I'm with you. I'm with
not
you.
streaming crap that he sold out his soul to make. The
I
worst,
feel like
worst streamer in the world.
Billy Madison is the movie is our generation's Godfather. You know how there's that scene in was it one of those movies with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks, and she's like, every guy can quote the Godfather. I think it's
Yeah, I get you for saying that.
but like Billy Madison seems to be the one that every dude can quote in our generation. Like we all know like reference to that. And it's literally just one of those just banger of a movie. I mean I have a great Adam Sandler story that's not about him, but it's just it. But I guess I'll wait till we get to Big Daddy because it's actually more of a Big Daddy story.
Yeah, it's great.
But anyway, point is like Billy Madison is one of those films that every dude on earth knows. Like it surpasses everything. It gets passed down. I'm sure there are dads out there that can't wait till their kid is whatever age they feel appropriate to show them Billy Madison. Kind of like how Caddyshack and Godfather get treated. It's that same exact vibe. So you can't deny the power of Billy Madison.
Look, it's like it's got such a great cast besides Adam Sandler, right? Because
Right.
Whitford's in it. He's marvelous. He's
Yeah.
absolutely marvelous in this movie. And then, of course, it's got Bridget Wilson, who's super gorgeous, and she's
Yep.
amazing. And she's funny. And then it's got Norm Macdonald, of course, who's a legendary comedic actor. And then it's got the old man from A Christmas Story. It's got Darren McGavin
Yeah.
playing Billy Madison's father. So I mean, it's just a great movie, and it's like a $10 million movie, and it made like 27 million at the box office, and that doesn't sound massive, but this movie made tons of cash on video, and it launched his career without question. Nothing that came after this happens if Billy Madison's not a hit,
Yeah.
because if
You're right.
Sandler's not making it, if this isn't a hit out of the gate, they don't make more Adam Sandler movies, the ones that would then come out for like 40, 50, $80 million budgets, like he would eventually start doing, and none of those come out if he can't launch a $10 million film. And he did, and the rest is history. I saw this in theaters. I also have a great story of watching this with my buddy who's now deceased. You remember Dan Browning?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan, who from Stakeout?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the time frame, man, that I would get my first real job, like real job at at Stakeout as a driver. It's going to happen in February of this year because I'm going to get the Nissan Sentra, the red car, the maroon
Yep.
car, and my parents are going to we're going to get that car, and I think it costs. I think my monthly payment was like 263 or something like that.
Yeah.
263 a month. And my parents were like, "Look, if you pay 200 a month, we'll pay the other 63." And I was like, "All right, great." So I had to get a job, of course, and so I got a job at Stakeout, which is where I'll work for like the next like few years, off and on between college and stuff like that. But still, like that was in and my buddy who I would meet there, uh, Dan, who later passed away in a tragic automobile accident. Um, he him and I would watch this movie at his house, and he just absolutely loved it. He
Yep.
just loved this movie. I mean, he probably watched it 50, 60 times. I mean, he watched it all the time, and yeah, it's an amazing film. I actually saw this one at Springdale
Okay.
at the time, and then I've seen it a billion times since. Classic movie. One of Adam Sandler's. I mean, it's his first starring movie, but it's one of his. It's one of the best. It's one of the
Yeah.
best of his entire catalog.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those films that like you can't look at his entire catalog. This one always has to be in the top 5 just because of the history of it and what it is. It's the launching, as you said, it's the launching platform for him, the launch pad. So I think it's good. I love it. It's a fun movie. It's always in my top 5. It doesn't always get to number 1, but it's always in that 5. It might rotate around a little bit, and it's one of the best. Now that's backed up. So we've just gushed about Billy Madison.
Right.
And I know that the box office isn't I think the box office isn't very kind to the next movie, but I'll tell you, I was there. I was there because I was a Sam Raimi junkie at this point. And I went to go see this movie called The Quick and the Dead.
Amazing.
It is a fantastic Western. It is one of the greatest, my favorite Westerns, but it is also Sam Raimi style all over it.
Yeah.
I believe Russell Crowe, that's one of his earlier movies. I mean, I know he does Romper Stomper somewhere in there, but like it's an early movie for if that's Russell Crowe in there, right? I'm not just imagining that.
Look, listen to the talent that's on this film.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's obnoxious.
It's crazy. So you got Sam Raimi directing the film, who's already amazing, right? It's being shot by Dante Spinotti.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that, right?
Right.
And so, I mean, the music's by Alan Silvestri.
Good gravy.
Right? So, I mean, already you've got like 3 just huge names that are behind the camera. Okay? Now listen to who's in front of the camera. Sharon Stone, who in 1995 is huge.
Banger. She's a banger.
Gene Hackman.
Banger.
Russell Crowe. Robert Blossom. Lance Henriksen. Pat Hingle. Gary Sinise. Oh, yes, and an actor, maybe you've heard of him. He's been in a couple movies. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's pretty obscene as a cast. I mean, that's like, wow.
Oh, and the movie, here's the crazy thing about that movie, because this happens a lot with Westerns, and it depends on how the filmmaker approaches it, right? But in terms of modern Westerns, which I consider this a modern Western, it's not a spaghetti and whatever. The movie holds up today because there's nothing in it to date it to make it feel like, oh, that's a 90s movie. The only thing that dates it is the ages of the actors, but their performance is so good, you don't even realize who you're seeing sometimes. Like they are these character roles. That's why I say it's one of my favorites. And again, it oozes with such style, and it's so fun to watch, and it's so interesting. It's just absolutely a goldmine of a film. I don't think it did very well in the box office, though.
Did okay. It was like, it had a little bit of a thicker budget. It was like a $35 million movie that made like 48. So I mean, it's one of those
okay.
Got to get its money back in secondary markets. But that was the beautiful thing about movies back then, is that you had true secondary markets to make your money back. So I mean, nothing was, unless you were just a massive flop that just got nowhere close to your budget, you could make your money back in secondary markets. That was the beauty of them. So you had, cable, and you had, VHS and all that stuff. And it was huge. All that stuff was massive back then. So it was, yeah, I mean, so it made its money back, but I mean, it wasn't massive for that cast. And if you put all those people in their prime and you made a movie with them now, the movie would be much bigger than that. You couldn't even
Oh
make
yeah.
you couldn't even make the movie for 35 million.
No way. No way.
You'd have to make this movie for like 115, 150 million with that group.
Right. Right.
So I mean, it's a sign of the times for sure. I mean, Leonardo's not huge he's not as big in 1995.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, now he's a massive actor.
Yeah. Well, everybody you listed off in there is all like Screen Presence USA. Every single one of them is massive screen presence. Almost every single one of them has an Oscar or has been nominated. Like it is silly. The casting director on that film who pulled that together. That is silly good.
That's good.
And it's one of those rare ensembles of like just everybody's a mega talent. And the production design is good. The whole movie's great. I think it's a solid movie that it's, again, is probably one of those overlooked films that carries a lot of weight. And, it's a shame that now people probably have access. It's probably around with that kind of cast in it. It's probably still streaming somewhere just because that's a pretty big catalog of people.
No, it's good. But it's one of those movies that, you hear a lot of people talk about movies like Tombstone and films like that, and rightfully so. This one doesn't always get mentioned with a film like that, but it should. It's different. It's not the same type of film, so it's it's that kind of thing. But I did really enjoy it though.
Yeah, I love it. That leads us into and is this one of Danny's first movies? It's got to be one of his earliest movies.
First movie.
That's what I thought. This son of a bee.
This
launches another. This is another week of launching someone's career. Essentially, you have Shallow Grave, which is a Danny Boyle film. Some people may not know who Danny Boyle is.
Well, let's give him a history lesson.
Yes, sir. Please.
So, of course, right now he's got the 28 years, 28 days later, all that stuff. That's all his franchise right here, right? So it's like, and of course, this movie's with Ewan McGregor, which he's done, a bunch of films with at different times in their careers. But I mean, Slumdog Millionaire, Train Spotting, those are all his. Those are all his movies, and of course, he wrote 127 hours.
Yep.
I mean, he's just one of the best. He did The Beach, and of course the 20, which we're right now in the middle of this trilogy. We're hoping to get the third part because the second part was directed by Nia DaCosta, and she's kind of sunk the franchise, unfortunately.
Yeah, I tried to watch the second one, and I'll be honest with you, it was not an easy watch for me. Like, it wasn't the first one. Danny Boyle is just such an artist that the first one is just, I am so engaged with these characters and leaned in, and I was super excited that the next one was going to feature Ralph Fiennes because I love his character in those movies. I love him. He's like one of the greatest characters.
Well, he's great.
Yeah,
he's great in the movie.
He's great in the movie.
You're talking about the Bone Temple?
Yeah, dude. He's so good.
Yeah, he's really good in that.
Oh yeah, but he gets introduced in Danny Boyle's version, his first movie, right? In the first one, and so not the first 28 Days Later, but the first sequel, and that's even a complex sentence when you say it out loud. But anyway, point is like I just was let down by sort of her approach was not the same as Danny's. It didn't have the same heart to me as the first one. It didn't have the same. It just didn't. It just felt phoned in a little bit compared to it. Anyway, that's beyond the point. This is Danny Boyle's launching platform, and Tony just listed off Train Spotting. He just listed off these movies that would later become iconic. They would be iconic in the way of like, we knew people, shout out to Stephen Coppajans, who were so obsessed with that movie that they became those characters.
He did love Train Spotting. He loved Train Spotting. Oh,
Yeah, that was his jam. It resonated with him so well. Like that spoke his language. It's amazing. But that's what Danny Boyle does. Like his Slumdog is a great movie. And again, that's what he does. But Shallow Grave is him and Ewan McGregor. Ewan's got to be fairly young at this point. This has got to be early in his career for the most part, if I'm not mistaken.
Thinking about this movie is kind of like it's this weird mix of watching like this British black comedy crime film, with these kind of simple horror elements, but not really, that kind of thing. So you're gonna see a lot of what's gonna eventually be in his future films.
Yeah, good point.
Coming out here a little bit, but yeah, it's amazing, man. And yeah, and I think Ewan's like 22 years old or something like that here.
Yeah.
22, 23, somewhere in that range. Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's definitely at the front end of his career. So,
4 years before he would become old Obi-Wan, or young rather, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right. Yes. Classic.
So then that takes us to February 17th, which is it's not as powerful as the 10th. The February 10th, I'm going to go ahead and say it so that the internet will transcribe it, and we make our best week of movies ever bracket. It'll be in that mix, but the 10th is the greatest. But 17 is interesting, and there's no denying it, because this is an interesting stack of movies. This is what I do appreciate about doing the show and talking through the years and weeks rather, is that we get these interesting lineups. So this next one is a mix of like a TV remake. I can't remember I can't remember the Heavyweights, which we'll talk about. And then I don't know if this Just Cause is the same. Is this Just Cause the Sean Connery one? Okay. Yeah, good. That's the one I like. So we start with the Brady Bunch movie.
Right. I would, my story here. Classic. I've got a big story for this movie, man. So, I was a fan of the Brady Bunch, the TV show, of course. I used to watch it, come home, watch the Brady Bunch, here and there, and off and on throughout my life. I watch it every once in a while. If it's on, I'll flip it on. It's an iconic show. It's funny. People that know me know I watch sometimes weird stuff in the afternoons. Like I used to watch Brady Bunch and Full House and all kinds of weird nonsense that I get made fun of for. But yeah, this was one of those shows, and this is one of those weird times where I was going to school at Arnold, and my buddy there was, we've talked about him, Andy Davis.
Oh yeah,
dude. I mean, we've talked about this man on this show. And his love for Malcolm X and the whole bit and all the fun stuff. I did not have him pegged for being a massive fan of the Brady Bunch. But he was a massive fan of this show.
This makes no sense.
The guy doesn't make any sense. And so I'm like, I just remember him talking about it, and I go, I don't understand you at all. Like, you don't make any sense. And I said, man, you're a fan of the Brady Bunch? Like, you act so hard all the time. And you act so militant a lot of times. I was like, how can you be a fan of this show? And he's just, I love the Brady Bunch, man. The Brady Bunch is the best. And I was like, all right, that's fine. I was like, we'll go see the Brady Bunch movie. So then, and this is one of these weird crossover times where like different factions of my friend groups merged for one night only. And, Alan Hardy is also a big fan of the Brady Bunch.
Oh, very much.
Very much. And that one I knew, that one I understood.
Right.
That made sense. Andy Davis made no sense. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go see the movie. and we'll go opening night. Andy was all in. I told Alan about it, and he's like, I want to go. And I was like, all right. Well, nobody else wanted to go, and so I ended up with those two guys at Carmike 10 on opening night to watch the Brady Bunch. That's fine. Three guys going to see the Brady Bunch, not a big deal, right? So we're in the movie, and I'm sitting in the middle of these two guys because I'm friends with both of them, and they like each other. They're friends. They're becoming friendly, but they don't know each other that well.
Right.
And so I'm the catalyst, right? So I sit in the middle so I can talk to both guys. Man, they joked about this going in. I didn't think they'd actually do it. But they were talking about like, oh man, if the songs come on, I'm gonna get up and stand up and sing songs.
Oh my
And
god.
I'm like, no, you're not. I was like, you're not doing that. And I was like, don't do it, man. And dude, the first song hits. These two idiots get stand up and start singing these stupid songs. And they did this about 5 times, man.
Oh my god.
This is a movie theater, okay?
Oh my god.
And we're not, it's not a, a Broadway play, where people are kind of encouraged to stand up and sing along, right? And or it's not one of those movies that's kind of the sing along film. This is before that, so this is,
Right.
this is two grown men singing Brady songs in the middle of the theater. And I'm sitting in the middle. And at some point, I just said nope, and I kind of ducked to the side, and I let them have their spots next to each other. I kind of ducked over, and I said, "If you guys are that tight now, you're good. You're good. You can go." I mean, these two kept singing these, and there were other people, a couple other people that sang along too. But it was funny. It was.
So what I love about this more is that to paint these two guys,
Yeah.
to just express, Andy is one path, and I think Alan likes music, but Alan is very much alternative music. Like as long as I've known him, like I think he likes some hip hop, but that's not like his. If I were to anchor him into some music, he's a big Smashing Pumpkins guy. He's like the opposite end of the spectrum of Andy in terms of musical tastes, right? And
Without
it's
question.
just it's just the idea. It's also in an odd way beautiful that the idea of these two grown men, both of which have their very own very specific tastes, are unified under Brady Bunch songs is just the greatest thing. I wish I could see it. I wish we had the money and technology to recreate this scene. It would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, when it happened, I was like, man, I walked away thinking to myself, man, everybody who didn't want to show up missed something. Like that was a moment, right? And I mean, it was embarrassing, man. It was
Oh, I'm sure.
because you know how I like to go watch movies. Like I'm always engrossed in the film and stuff like that. And these two guys are nuts. And I had a blast with them. I had a blast with hanging out with them that night. But that was just one of those things. I was like, man, you guys are crazy. But to see Andy Davis standing up singing Brady Bunch songs is like the whitest moment of all time, without
Oh
question.
yeah.
I mean, I
Oh
was,
yeah.
dude, you might as well go home and rip that Malcolm X poster right up off your wall because you are not his target audience, my friend.
Oh, it's too good. The cast of that movie though is actually really good.
Yeah, no,
And I bring this up. Isn't Ben Stiller's? I don't know if they're divorced or married anymore, but at some point Ben Stiller was with, I forget her name, but she was on maybe she was on a Nickelodeon show or something.
no, yeah,
Um,
no, no, you're still married, Christine Taylor.
God bless, did I think she was the smoking hottest. She was just absolutely, absolutely a smoke show.
And of course, she plays Marcia, which makes
Right.
perfect sense. Right? And then you got Gary Cole, who's amazing, and Shelley Long as Carol Brady, and yeah, I mean it's a great cast as well. David Graff from Police Academy,
Oh yeah.
way since, but he's in the movie as kind of a love interest for Alice. And yeah, I mean it's cool. Gene Smart, Michael McKean, who I've worked with, he's in the film as well. Yeah, it's a good movie, man, with a great cast. I mean, it's a fun film, and I like the first one a lot better than I did. The second one's not bad though either, but it does launch a sequel. It does launch some sequels, so I mean, it made pretty good money. I mean, they did it for like 10 million, which is good. They didn't like overshoot, because I think
Yeah.
they figure out if it was going to make any money. And then it made like $55 million in the theaters. That was pretty good money.
Holy smokes. Yeah, that's really good. In a February slot. The thing that I remember about it's been a while since I've seen it. It's the Brady's are still the Brady's from like the TV show vibe, except they're in a modern world. So is that right? And it just makes them feel even more out of place type thing?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely kitschy in that way. They poke fun at the show, and everybody's got a good sense of humor, and there's cameos and in the whole bit. I mean, it's neat.
Yeah, it's fun. That's followed up by the movie Heavyweights, and the only movie I can think about has the Heavy D and the boys in it.
No, no, this is a comedy directed by Stephen Brill, who would do some work with Adam Sandler,
Okay.
and he directed Mr. Deeds, which is a good Sandler film.
Love Mr. D. Yeah.
This is like the first movie written by Judd Apatow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he writes this right before Celtic Pride comes out. So Celtic
Got
Pride's
it.
the next year, and so this is before that. Um, and so it's like it's a comedy about these kids, you know, and I think you've seen this movie.
I
Um,
probably have. I just don't remember it.
yeah, these kids and the school's ending for the summer, and they go to like a camp, and the whole bit. Um, it's got some pretty good. Well, it's got Sean Weiss in it, who was in the Mighty Ducks films,
Yep. Okay.
and Tom McGowan, who was in Everybody Loves Raymond for a while. He's guest star in that show, and of course he's got Kenan Thompson as one of
Oh,
the
I
kids.
love Keenan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's cool, and it's got some heavyweights as well. Ben Stiller's in the film.
Yep.
His whole
Okay. Now I'm starting to remember. Yeah.
actually, Jerry Stiller's in it, Ann Mara's in it, Jeffrey Tambor is in it. So it's got a lot of cool people. So it's a fun comedy. If you've not checked it out, and it sounds like you haven't, you might want to go watch this one.
I'm gonna see if I can find it because it sounds fun, and if nothing else, if at least if I see the key art, maybe it'll trigger in my brain, having seen it or not. Sometimes I need the visual to unlock it.
Yeah.
How did it end up doing as far as like if Brady Bunch sucked up 40 or 55 million? I imagine this week it probably wasn't a heavy hitter.
It was okay. It was like a $10 million film again, and it did like 18 million, somewhere in that
Oh, it's
range.
good.
Not
That's
terrible,
really good. Yeah.
terrible at all. I mean, nobody's massive in this time frame out of that group, so it's kind of like everybody's kind of newer, and Ben Stiller's not quite the heavy name that he will be, and Jerry Stiller is going to have. He's not. He's in Seinfeld at this point, but he's going to become bigger as we go
Oh
on.
yeah.
I mean, like
Oh
he'll
yeah.
he'll be bigger as far as his. Obviously, he was always really big with his wife because they were a huge comedy team for decades, even before this. But um, he's going to become really huge with later Seinfeld and King of Queens, of course. So
I gotcha. So then that takes us to Just Cause, which is a Sean Connery film. Is Lawrence Fishburne in a movie that's similar to this, or is he in this movie?
He's in this movie.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I remember seeing this, and I don't remember if I saw it in theaters or not, but I remember seeing it, and I remember enjoying it because it's a bit of a thriller mystery type piece, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a crime thriller.
Yep.
I saw this movie at Movie Sin with Jonathan Green.
Nice.
Because he was in the movies like this too. And this is really kind of one of those movies that, the 90s was known for, right? Like the crime thriller. You don't get much of this stuff nowadays. They'll come out with one here or there every once in a while, but you don't get as many of these as you used to get. And these are the types of films I miss. These and like true romantic comedies are kind of what I miss at the theater, and just like in also kind of teen raunch comedies as well. We're not getting a lot of these types of films, and there's still a lot of movies at the theaters, just tons of movies there, but these are the kinds of ones that seem to be lacking, and this is a really good one. This Sean Connery's got a whole bunch of movies in the '90s. And this is one of his good ones. I really did enjoy it. Did really well. 27 million. Did 63 at the box office. So pretty solid. And again, Sean Connery, Lawrence Fishburne, Kate Capshaw, Blair Underwood, Ruby Dee, Ed Harris. Good cast.
Yeah, really good cast. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's burned into my brain because it was, again, the movies that I think we've made it clear, the stuff that stuck with me is the stuff that ends up sticking with me that would influence my own career going forward. And just in this month alone, you have, 4 different films, this being one of those that stuck with me. It's one of those too that, like, I think the thing to your point about what's really missing is people might call it in the modern film language, and I'm talking about current film language, people might say it's slow burn. But the reality of it is it's actually paced really well, and the payoffs and the deliveries and the twists and the discovery and sort of the process that the story goes through is to me, that's one of the things I miss the most, is just that the patience to tell the story as opposed to using the stupid, we won't say the name because it triggers Tony, streaming formula that requires you to have an explosion every 2 minutes and 27 seconds or whatever it is. This doesn't follow those rules, and it ends up being a better movie for it, which I'm with you. I miss that kind of, especially in the rom-com world. But in the thriller world, we don't see thrillers like this, and that's a great point. That's very valid. Now that you say it, it's really resonating within my brain.
It's funny because I was reading an article about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon had just released a movie for that streamer that you're talking about. And Matt Damon was talking about this, and he said, "Look, he goes, when we did this movie, the streamer, which is of course Netflix, they're the one they literally came up to these guys and said, you need to go back and rehash your plot line several times throughout the movie, because when people are watching movies like that at home, their attention span is nothing."
Yep.
And so they have to rehash the plot.
Yep.
5, 6, 7 times over in a movie. If you do that, you lose the entire concept of the film.
Yeah.
Movies are not made to be watched at your house with your dog jumping up on your face, and you have to go tuck your children in, so you got to put it on pause, and then you fall asleep on the couch, and then you'll watch it 2 days from now, or it's like all this stuff, right? Or you got to go answer the door for the pizza man. It's like it's whatever's going on in your life. It's better to go to the theater and watch these films.
So here's the thing that makes
screwed either.
Go ahead.
You don't want to screw the artist up either.
Here's what makes your point even worse, because I've seen the movie and it's a really good movie. Here's what sucks though. If this movie was able to follow the same path as Just Cause, it would have been in theaters. It would have been a blockbuster. People would have been like, you got to go see it again. Because this movie is a mystery crime thriller, Because they're reiterating the story, you know what's going to happen because they've just told you and reminded you. There's no gap of time for you to kind of piece the puzzle together in your brain. You're being told, so you don't have to pay attention. So it ends up being a series of scenes. And again, it's a good movie because those two guys know what they're doing and they made something fun. And I believe it's David Ayer or whatever his name is, but it would have been 10 times better, 10 times better if could have followed the path of like, here's the story. You've got to figure it out as they figure it out because the turns in the movie are so good when they happen. The impact isn't as much because you've already been reminded of it. It's just that kind of thing, to your point.
That's what a crime thriller is supposed to give. You know, you're supposed to be
Yep.
able to figure it out as the leads are figuring it out. You know, as
Yep.
those are figuring out, that's what you're supposed to. Oh yeah, and sometimes you're ahead of them, and sometimes you're not, and that's the beauty of it. And
Yep.
it's definitely missing in this current era of film, unless they go unless they go to theaters because they'll still put stuff like that in theaters. But these are the types of films that are missing. So if anybody's out there wanting to try to write or direct some movies, these are the films we need.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
we don't need any. We don't need a ton of action movies right now. We don't need. We need more of these types of films. So
Yeah.
this is what we got to get more of out there. So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah, well, we will.
Just Cause is a good film, and if you haven't
It's
not seen it, I highly recommend it for sure.
absolutely, absolutely well worth the watch. Because it's 1995, Tony.
Yeah,
We should have an onslaught of music that's just gut punchingly good. So per our tradition that you introduced us to, and I think now has become an extreme fan favorite. How about them releases for February 1995?
yeah. Well, first of all, tonight I'm going to go see Filter, Finger 11, and Local H.
Sick.
So that'll be a fun show. I won tickets.
Heck yeah.
My brother and I are going to go check that out, and Filter's the closing band, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, but February 1995, we got some good ones in here, man. Well, first of all, well, World of Morrissey, which is a compilation by Morrissey, that comes out.
Yeah.
But then of course this massive. It was funny because you literally were talking about country music earlier. You literally up, but she's not really. I mean, you could call her country. She kind of crosses the pop quite often. So, but Shania Twain's going to release "The Woman in Me."
Oh, yeah.
In 1995. That album, I believe, is 12 time platinum.
Good grief.
Yeah, it sold a lot of records.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it sells like 4 million its first year, and it's like over the course of time, it sold like another almost 10 million or so. It's
That's insane.
Pretty incredible. There's some other stuff that comes out here, but then there's some really good ones. Driver Not Included by Orange Nine.
Oh boy, that's one of my records, buddy. You and I, that was, for anybody that doesn't know who that is I don't know. Nowadays everything's got the word core behind it, but they were like this this band that I think we got turned on to from being Helmet fans and went down this pipe. I don't even remember how we ended up coming across, but it doesn't even really matter.
It's like
That is
man.
It was probably a Satori find. You're probably right. Satori was our local record shop. In case that becomes more and more important as we age, but probably a Satori find for sure. But like again, another incredibly good record. Chris Trainor's in the band.
Yes,
It's really really unique. Chris Trainor goes on to be in lots of other bands, but like it's a really good album if you're into heavier rock. It's in that world for sure.
well, Chris Trainor's in Bush now.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
He's in the band Bush now. So yeah, so he's in
Okay.
Bush at the current time with Gavin Rossdale, and so I mean they have an amazing lineup right now in that band. Hanky Panky by The, which is
Oh yeah, classic.
Belly releases the album King.
Oh, that's a big one. That's a Jeff Worley, Catherine King band.
Good record though, yeah, for sure.
It's a great record.
Susie and the Banshees released The Rapture.
Oh yeah,
The Jayhawks released Tomorrow the Green Grass.
yeah. That was a good college. That was a big college rock band at the time.
Massive Attack releases No Protection.
Oh yeah, that's
Disc.
yeah.
Um, Blink 182 releases their debut, which Cheshire Cat.
Wow. And that's like
They're
for
not casting.
those. Yeah, they're not. And
They're
for
not,
those
they
that
will.
go maybe pull the, yeah, they will be. For those that go pull that album, be prepared because this is like Blink 182 when they were actually a punk band.
It is yeah. They're good. I've always liked them, but yeah, this is definitely different. It's kind of like listening to the first Sugar Ray album and then listening to Sugar.
Great reference.
But
Great reference.
yeah, although Blink 182 stays more you know heavier than
Yeah.
Sugar. Yeah, Sugar Ray's gonna go really pop. Uh, Blink 182 is gonna stay pretty heavy with some pop crossover appeal. Uh, the Smiths released their compilation of singles. DJ Quick releases Safe and Sound. Uh,
Nice.
Atari Teenage Riot releases Delete Yourself.
Whoa.
Yep.
Wow.
PJ Harvey releases to Bring You My Love.
Okay.
Here's an album I loved. I own this. I loved it. Um, the band Wax releases 13 Unlucky Numbers. What
Oh
a
man, I did not. Yeah.
what a
Yeah.
great disc. Oh, I love
Yeah.
this. His
That's
band.
one of the. They're a great band, and that's wow, golly, I'm blanking on what was the name of the band. I went on tour with them
Yeah.
later.
You go on tour with you go on tour with the Bloodhound Gang, but you Joe Sib, and he's got 22 Jacks.
22 Jacks, and
He's
that's
got,
where in that same scenario with 22 Jacks, the guitar player is Chris, who is now he was in a band called No Use for a Name. He was in 22 Jacks, and then he becomes the guitar player for Foo Fighters. And I've told the story a few times. I was sitting outside with him, and he and I were just sitting and talking when I was on. Again, I was there filming the Bloodhound Gang. This is years later, and he gets a phone call on a cellular phone at the time or a pay phone, whatever it was. But we were there. He gets a call and he turns to me and he was like, "That was Dave Grohl. I just got asked to join the Foo Fighters."
yeah.
Like that's my coolest rock and roll story. But I was there when he turned, and I was the first person that he said something to, and I was like, "What? Like that's incredible." The Foo Fighters were hardly even a band.
No, yeah.
Again, this is later. This is not '95, folks, but he's going to end up in a band with Joe Sib from Wax. Wax is good. Why did I move to Southern California?
Dude, this album is so great. I mean, that's a great song. That was a single for that
Yep.
got Alternative Nation and stuff like that. But this album, from start to finish, is pretty magnificent. I mean, this is a really good record, and a really great punk album. It's outstanding and very underrated. Um,
Agree.
so Mike Watt releases Ball Hog or Tugboat.
Oh, classic stuff.
Face to Face releases Big Choice.
There we go.
Better Than Ezra re-releases Deluxe.
Wow. So Better Ezra's like kind of local for us, oddly.
For us because they're kind of in that New Orleans area. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yep.
Let's see. Here's an album. There's a couple of albums here. So first of all, Jewel releases Pieces of You,
Ooh,
which is a
wow. Big one.
big record. And then here's an album that this is such a weird story. So so the band is Quicksand, and the album is
Ooh.
Manic Compression. So this is like their follow-up album, right? And so
Yep.
I knew this was coming out, and I wanted this record so damn bad. I immediately went to Satori Sound, and I was like, "Hey, you got quick." I tried to buy this record at Satori because I tried to give. I always like we were always good friends with Chuck, and I wanted to. I always like to support a store, right? And so I go in there and I'm like, "Hey, you got Quicksand, Manic Compression?" He's like, "I don't have it." I'm like, all right, when are you gonna get it? I don't know. Okay, and so oh he is right, and
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, that's fine. I come back in like I mean, I would go in there at least once a month asking for this record. And so this is months later. This is months later. And for whatever reason, I still haven't bought it, right? And this is, I mean, we're talking 9, 10 months later, almost a year. It's becoming like a year later. And I go in there, I'm like, do you have the new Quicksand album? No. I'm like, he goes, I didn't even know they released a new album. And somebody else who works in the store says, I didn't even know they released a new album. And Chuck goes, no, he's talking about the album that was released like a year ago. He's been in here every month since then.
Oh my God.
I was like, you asshole. I was like, you asshole. And I just bought it at like Blockbuster Music or something, you know? I was like, dick. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I always tried to buy up there because they were a local store, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we bought a ton of stuff there, and we listened to a lot of bands. They let us listen to CDs, and before we bought them and everything else. It was a great shop. But man, once he was talking about that, I was like, "Oh, you jerk! I'm going somewhere else." Okay,
Yeah.
I ended up with it, but it's a great record, man. Quicksand, Manic Compression, awesome album from start to finish.
100% agree.
Thorn in My Side was the big
Yep.
is
Yep.
an absolutely incredible song. When I listen to it, I'll listen to it 10 times in a row. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing song.
It's great. It is great. They so interesting thing about the Quicksand side of things that I think we got turned on to him because we found out that it's Peter Menegade, I believe is his name. He was in the band Helmet for a brief stint and left and started Quicksand. And so you get Helmet that still exists, the lineup's solid. I forget who he replaced, but then he goes and does, and dude, Quicksand is just as good as Helmet in a lot of ways. You know, I like that both those albums are really good. And then later he would start another band called Rival Schools, which is also really good. So like you get this lineup. The crazy part is like Orange Nine, Quicksand, Helmet, Rival School, all those bands, they all end up intermingling in some way, shape, or form. And there's like all this history between this. And that was just a style of music we were into. It was rock. It was heavy rock, but they were all just kind of sharing players after a while. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Quicksand toured with Helmet not that long ago.
Yeah.
Probably 2 years ago. A few years ago. Yeah.
That would be a banger of a show. That would have been a banger.
No, I mean, they're amazing. Quicksand's amazing. Sergio Vega, I mean, just forget about it. Quicksand's awesome. I love Quicksand. I love that album. It took me about a year to find it. For whatever stupid reason. But
That's good.
I did. A brand new album. It was like 50 record shops I could have bought it from. Tried to buy it from the Joker, who's now out of business.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that place is a dog bakery.
Is that what it is now?
It breaks my heart. I drive by it every morning taking the kids to school, and I'm always just like, I have such I wanted to buy it. I called an investor. This is absolute truth. The guy who had it after Chuck, it was still Satori. And I was like, dude, and I heard he was going to sell it. I wrote to the guy and was like, look, I have an investor. We would like to buy it from you. We want to keep Satori a coffee shop. And
Right.
I was going to eventually bring in records. Like my goal was to have it be a coffee shop with just a small section of records. I just wanted to pay homage. Chuck introduced us to so much music. And then half the movies that you and I wrote on were written while I was sitting up at Satori Coffee House. So like, it's important to our artistic careers, to our lives. And I didn't want it to become a dog bakery.
Dog bakery. Wow. No, you were there a lot. I mean, I know you were there a ton as a coffee house. I that's kind of like after my time living in Mobile, really. So
Yeah.
like I've been there a couple of times when coming down to visit and things like that. I've been there, a few times as a coffee shop, but I mean, a record shop, forget about it. I was there all the time. As a matter of fact, this car that we're talking about, this Nissan Sentra will be loaded.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean loaded with band stickers that I buy from Satori. I mean, just loaded.
Yeah. I was wondering, it is a thing. It got to a point where both of us ended up, your car had the most. You had, but it was like you could barely see out the back window.
it got so well. Yeah, because I tried to do a trim around the back window so it wasn't like in the middle, and then
Yeah.
I remember going back down to get my. I had to go back and get my license. Um, and my my license had expired or something like that, so I had to retake the actual driving test. And and so when I did that, um, the lady comes out, and I remember her looking in the back window, going, "I don't know if you can even legally drive this car for this test." And she had to go get another lady who went on and approved it and said, "Oh yeah, he's good. You can see through the middle of the window." And so because the stickers were not they're not bumper stickers where they black out. You could see through the stickers. They
Yeah, they
were
were vinyl.
they're
Yeah.
like they're like stenciled. So it's like so they were really cool. And I don't see those as much these days, but man, we had a lot of fun with those stickers, man. From Satori, I'd go in there and buy tons of those,
Yep.
stick them all over the
Yep.
damn. And I had everybody, man. I had all the bands that you never see anymore, like Ned's Atomic Dustbin and Bad Brains and Toad the Wet Sprite. I had everybody. They were amazing. Fun
Yeah,
time.
some dude was making a mint off of just taking band names and cutting them into vinyl. And like, I don't know what it is, but Mobile, Alabama sells out of all of them.
They were gone. I mean, they were. You'd go in there and you'd be trying to find certain bands, and sometimes they'd be there, and sometimes they wouldn't. And you may have to come back 2 months from now, and oh yeah, there's the Wu-Tang Clan. That's the one I wanted, or something like that. I mean, I had
Yep.
everybody, and my
Yep.
car was crazy because like I was so into. I'm so diverse musically and in film and stuff like that. So my car's got hip hop and punk and hardcore. It's just like it's just an homage to like music in general. It's great, a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Okay, well, I guess that's going to wrap up this episode. We'll be back again whenever you listen to this, we're back again. And if you're waiting for us, then we'll be just a couple of days. Just give us a little like Sipu. One thing that we've asked is if you do enjoy the show, please give us a nice little review. Feel free to do so. It helps us, helps get more people into it. And if you want to follow along, you can join us on Facebook. We have a lot of conversations going on there. We post things from time to time. Anything else you want to add before we close this one out, Tony?
Yeah, real quick, I want to talk about because man, the '90s and the '80s and '90s were like I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. People know that about me. And man, we just lost Lou Holtz,
Yeah.
and I mean, I could do like two tribute episodes on just him. But I just want to talk about him for just a second. Lou Holtz was my favorite Notre Dame coach. He is without question like one of the big reasons I became a fan. So rest in peace, Coach Holtz. Go Irish.
There we go. And with that, we will bid you adieu.